Tom Brady's God's favorite.
Tom Brady is not even the greatest of all time in his own city.
You are bored by sustained greatness.
In order to be the greatest of all time, how can you even have a debate in your own sport?
Tom Brady led the league in passing with over 5,000 yards at 44 years old.
And Patrick Mahomes won the Super Bowl in his second year as a starter. That's the difference.
Tom Brady had Spygate going for him. He had Deflategate going for him.
4th and 5. Are we going to Tom Brady?
Hell no.
Yes, I will take Tom Brady. My first claim is Tom Brady is the greatest of all time.
Tom Brady is not even the greatest of all time in his own city. Bill Russell, if we're talking about greatest, is a greater individual athlete and team player than Tom Brady. Bill Russell has 11 championships, and in Game 7s, with everything on the line, 10-0. Tom Brady, meanwhile, lost to Nick Foles, Big Dick Nick. He lost 2 Super Bowls to Eli Manning. Eli Manning is horrible. That's literally going to be the reason why Eli Manning gets in the Hall of Fame, because Tom Brady choked on the biggest stage to Eli Manning twice. And you're talking about another player who's greater than Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, 6-0 in the finals. Literally on the biggest stage, never lost once. Brady on the biggest stage lost to crap players. That is horrendous. Eli Manning and Nick Foles. Good luck with that.
To be clear, I was arguing about football. However, I will entertain
Wasn't the prompt.
That's fair. The prompt was a little bit open-ended. Bill Russell was about 2 feet taller than everyone else he was playing back in that era. I don't care about his accomplishments before we had color TV. I really don't. So Tom Brady, we're not talking about him not even being the greatest of all time in his own city. That is absolutely asinine.
It's about championships.
Diabolical argument, because it's not just about championships. It's about the numbers that accompany the championships. Tom Brady is the NFL's all-time leading passer. He's the NFL's all-time leader in touchdowns. All of that not coming in a dome like so many of his contemporaries, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, had the luxury of playing in most of their careers. Tom Brady is undeniably the greatest of all time, not just in football, but in any sport. But,
so, first of all, Tom Brady's thing should never even happen, because he got extremely lucky that Mo Lewis destroyed Drew Bledsoe and knocked him out of the game. The tuck rule. In the history of the league, he's not even a person if it wasn't for the worst rule in the history of sports, which was the tuck rule, because that was the most blatant fumble in NFL history, and the fact that call went for him is a joke, because if you watch football now, that's a fumble today.
So you think that would negate his whole career if the tuck rule didn't happen?
I mean, Tom Brady, if you want to play that game, who knows what happens?
The legend of Tom Brady doesn't happen.
Yeah, maybe the Patriots are like, you know what, we gave our chance with Tom, he lost in the playoffs, we're done with you, we're going back to Drew. That could have easily happened, and Brady never gets a chance. That could 100% happen.
That's fine.
Absolutely.
If you have utilized some sort of time machine to go back and see that outcome, I would like to borrow it, because there's a few things
Brady's
I'd like to
whole
do
career
with
is
it.
predicated on luck.
But
his whole career is predicated on luck.
Going to 10 Super Bowls is luck? That's crazy. That's crazy.
The amount of winning he had was highly due to luck. 0-1, won the Super Bowl by 3. His first 3 Super Bowls, won each of those games by 3 points, then had a 10-year gap where he didn't win crap.
Again,
you cannot say that for Bill Russell. You cannot say that for Michael Jordan.
Again,
Two players,
we want to
Babe Ruth, far greater. And your argument about
Babe Ruth.
Yeah. Joe Montana 4-0 in Super Bowls, never lost in the big stage.
Joe Montana never threw for 4,000 yards. I don't care about Joe Montana. That dude is 100 years old.
Well, to start this one, right, I want to list you the 3 easiest jobs in the world.
Okay.
Weatherman, Gene Steratore, and you for coming on here saying Brady is the greatest of all time.
I agree with
Shout out to House of Highlights, right? Free donation to you.
Yes.
Brady is the GOAT. I understand that from a winning standpoint. There might be some people behind me that think Patrick Mahomes will overtake him.
Yep.
And I don't think that day will come. So by the winning metric of winning Super Bowls, yes, Brady is the greatest to do it. But how do we want to define that, right? Brady might be the luckiest quarterback of all time. We go, right, to what value was he to his team? He was a great system quarterback. Always had a top 10 defense when he won, right? In his 18 seasons in New England, had 10 top 10 defenses. That's pretty good, or rather 13, I believe. Throw 3 more on there. When he went out in 2008, first of all, lost the biggest game of his life when he was 16-0, right, against my New York Giants. Excuse the Baltimore jersey. He goes, right, loses that game, then goes out. The Patriots go 11-5 with Matt Castle, who hadn't started a game at quarterback since high school, and were one of 2 11-5 teams in NFL history not to make the playoffs, right? So they could have made the playoffs, won that Super Bowl, and who knows? There's a lot of quarterbacks who never got another chance after a guy took over, right? Peyton Manning goes out, they go 2-14, they draft Luck. He has to go and be an MVP and a Super Bowl champion in Denver, right? Steve Young comes in for Joe Montana, and Joe Montana never plays another game for the 49ers. So how can you say that when so many things have broken Tom Brady's way?
First of all, I think you are highly confused on several levels. First of all, the Giants fan and Lamar jersey is, I don't really know what we're doing here, especially with the suit jacket ensemble to go with that. I don't really know what's going on here. Those are facts. That's what he's wearing. On top of that, you can talk about Brady's defenses. You can talk about the luck all you want. You can also talk about the fact that if he had some better defenses in the years where he didn't have a good defense, we're probably looking at 10 Super Bowls, 11. I mean, the year that he threw 500 yards, 4 touchdowns against the Eagles in the Super Bowl, that should be a Super Bowl victory every day of the week, especially if Brandon Cooks doesn't get his brain scrambled on the first drive of the game.
How about 13 points against the Rams in the Super Bowl? Won that Super Bowl.
They did win that Super Bowl.
Right.
Yeah. Because Tom Brady's God's favorite. What do you mean? That's part of being great.
Defense giveth and defense taketh, my
I understand.
friend.
So exactly.
And by
So
the
it
way,
all levels back out to the Super Bowls he's deserved and earned.
And by the way, Mr. Clutch still had a chance in that Philadelphia game at the end and was stripped.
It's crazy to me that we want to nitpick the few Super Bowls he didn't win when he's sitting here with 7 of them. And you're telling me that he's the luckiest quarterback ever when he's been on the other side of 2 of the dumbest catches I've ever seen in my life at the hands of Eli Manning. We're not doing the luck argument. We're not.
My friend, that is football, though.
My next claim is Tom Brady is the GOAT of all GOATs in any sport.
I want to know why he's your GOAT of all GOATs. Is it the wins? Or did he? Because he didn't change the game. He didn't do that.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true that he didn't
So the
change
GOAT of all
game.
GOATs is Tiger Woods because he broke through barriers just to play in his sport. He completely changed the golf game.
Yeah.
He's had multiple, for what other people be career-ending injuries. He's had scandals that he's had to battle through. And through all
self-inflicted scandals.
Even so, there's scandals that listen,
Tom
some
Brady
guys
didn't
can't
crash
get
his
through
car
that
because
stuff.
he cheated on his wife. That's a positive
They
for Tiger
dragged that
Woods?
scandal out of proportion.
Oh my
okay?
God!
Listen,
Well, Brady does know a lot about that.
all right. So when you have to battle through all that and you still find a way to get 82 wins, change the game of golf, and you inspire a whole generation, all of us our age, right? I'm 22 years old. So many kids my age wouldn't even think about golf if it weren't for Tiger Woods. Can you say that about football for Tom Brady? No, you cannot. So I would love to hear what you have to say about that.
Look, all due respect to Tiger Woods, he is absolutely in that conversation of GOAT of all GOATs. I think when you succeed to that level in an individual sport, it is massively impressive. Couple things on that, though. Succeeding in an individual sport, while impressive, to me, is not as impressive as being able to elevate other guys to a championship level for over half of your career. And I'm talking to a Super Bowl, over half of the seasons he played in his career.
But in a team sport, you need other parts of the equation given to you, basically.
I'm saying he elevated
Tom Brady had
those
half
other
of the
parts.
equation. Really,
Tiger Woods
really
only had to
2/3,
worry about
Everybody
himself.
forgets about special teams, and no one wants to talk about the Patriots' special teams, which was constantly the best in the league.
Matthew Slater,
So
baller.
2/3 of the equation was already given to Tom Brady. When you play by yourself in a game like golf, you are the equation, and Tiger Woods was the best equation we've ever seen in sports.
I would argue that is less responsibility, though. When you are
Less
only-
responsibility?
When you're Tiger Woods and you are worrying about getting your golf game to be the best that it can be and to be constantly winning tournaments the way he was, he's only worried about needing to improve himself. Tom Brady needs to make sure that everybody around him is aligned, is ready to tackle the goal that is at hand, and he did that over and over throughout his career. He did that in the Falcons Super Bowl to make sure that nobody else was dejected and wanted to just go home because they're down by 3 scores. Tom Brady's the kind of guy that can elevate others around him in a way that you can't do that in individual
no guy on that
sports.
team was down 28-3 thinking, I wish I was home right now.
And I wonder
man.
why
they want to win.
I wonder
they
why
want to
that
win.
was. You don't think that's because of
Partially
the
it's Tom-
culture,
yeah.
the do your job culture that also Belichick contributed
Yeah,
to?
exactly. What,
But
we're
that
gonna leave
Tom
out the
Brady-
coach? Was Tom the head
of
coach
course.
too?
I mean, kind of. Look at what's Belichick done since Brady's
Look
left.
at what every other
North
coach
Carolina's
has when,
doing really
when their
well.
Hall of Fame head coach leaves. Look at Mike Tomlin in the Steelers, and I'm a Steelers guy. He struggles without
my
Ben.
other point of contention would be you were talking about Tiger Woods and what he's done and, grown the golf game and all that for people, your age, our age, whatever it is. I'm a little bit older than you. I'm kind of an unk over here. But how popular is golf right now? Tiger Woods did a great job elevating that sport in the time that he played it. Buddy, I don't hear about golf ever anymore because their GOAT is gone. Football's still very
He's
popular.
not gone. He's still going to make another comeback. We don't have to worry about that. If there's anyone that's going to do it, it's Tiger Woods, and he will. And golf is at its peak right now, and that is because of Tiger Woods.
Double suit Ravens jerseys? How are you?
All right. So Brady's great. I'll give it to you. Maybe the greatest football player of all time. That's not the question we're answering. I don't know. I'm not here to answer that.
Okay.
What I'm here to tell you is that There's a reason we're sitting here debating this, right? There's a reason you're a fan. I don't believe it's a debate, right? You want to talk about MJ, you want to talk about LeBron, that's a debate. You want to talk about Bill Russell, that's a debate. Who's the greatest swimmer of all time? No debate. Michael Phelps.
Yeah.
Who's the greatest runner of all time? Usain
Usain
Bolt. No debate. Who's the greatest hockey player of all time? Wayne Gretzky. No debate. In order to be the greatest of all time of anything, how can you even have a debate in your own sport? And let me expand a little further on those other guys, right? Football, you love football, I love football. All these wonderful men behind me and everybody watching at home, you all love football, right? It's a very niche sport. Here in America, we play it. Other places in the world, people don't play it. Running, everybody in the world can run. Usain Bolt is the greatest, maybe athlete ever. He did things that nobody will ever do again. He set records nobody will ever break. And anybody in the world has the opportunity to do that. Same with Michael Phelps. Wayne Gretzky, if you took away every single goal he ever scored, he would still be the all-time NHL points leader. These are things that will never be broken. Nobody's sitting there saying, if, Connor Bedard plays, whatever, a million more years, he's going to break the record of assists. No, because we know this is an unbreakable record. These three guys are undisputed. If I asked everybody in the world, they would all have the same answer. Somebody wouldn't say Brady, therefore he can't be the greatest ever.
Okay. I can't argue with you on the terms of the global impact. You're absolutely right. American football is very much only a thing here, although we are, trying to expand to the other countries, more and more games every year.
sure.
But I'm with you there. I understand that if that is your position on the matter and you are taking the global impact and that's the primary thing you're looking at, 100%, I get it. As far as the other side of things, which is you can't be the GOAT of all GOATs if you are part of a GOAT debate within your own sport. To me, that debate that exists is so disingenuous, and it only exists because it's a team sport. It's really easy to measure GOATs in other sports, like individual sports, like swimming, golf, running, because, who has the most championships? Who has the most whatever? Because they're only, again, it's only themselves. When you are in a team sport, people are able to oftentimes disingenuously nitpick the sort of situations you're in and whatever else led to your greatness. People can deny it until the cows come home. People called Tom Brady a system quarterback his whole career. There's probably people out here that still think that's the case. And that's okay. The fact is that that's not the fact. But people can argue it forever because there's no necessarily fully tangible evidence to the contrary, even though anybody with eyes kind of knows it's the case. So that's the only reason there's a debate of who's the GOAT in the NFL. It's because people can say, well, if this guy that, if this guy that. That doesn't exist in individual sports because what are you going to say? Oh, is that guy, if that guy was faster?
But wouldn't you agree that makes somebody a purer GOAT if you have things you can say about Brady and you can nitpick, and sure, it might be nitpicky, and sure, it might be, in your opinion, a little bit irrelevant on some of these things. The fact that you can't say those things about Usain Bolt, the fact that you can't say those things about Michael Phelps, the fact that you can't even say those things about Wayne Gretzky, albeit he won less games, and that he was just a pure great athlete, in my opinion, these guys are unquestioned GOATs, and that makes them maybe the greatest athletes ever, but definitely more unquestioned than Brady.
To me, it's just the nature of the sport, not the nature of the guy.
I appreciate it.
I get it.
Oh, you know whose jersey this is.
Is it Wandale Robinson?
No, sir. This is a Super Bowl champion. Okay, so if we're talking GOAT of all GOATs in any sport, that means that, and I'm going to quote the great Max Kellerman, with the fate of the universe on the line, you are taking this player to get us and win whatever situation we're in. In basketball, fate of the universe on the line, yeah, I'm going to go with Michael Jordan, the GOAT of all GOATs in that sport. Football, I don't know if I can say the same if it's fourth down, if it's 4th and 5, even if it's the same down that Eli was in. We had to scramble and break free from sacks, get loose, just enough time to throw it downfield for David Tyree to get that ball. And then even after that, he threw a touchdown to Plaxico Burress, who cooked the defender. In that same Super Bowl, when Brady threw his one touchdown to Randy Moss, the DB tripped. So he got kind of lucky on that one. But with the fate of the universe on the line, first let me ask you guys, with the fate of the universe on the line, we need a touchdown. It's 4th and 5. Are we going to Tom Brady? Hell no. So let me
group of
now
people
let me ask
I've ever
you,
seen in my
I just
life.
want to know if you're gonna lie.
Am I going to lie?
Yeah.
A lie about what?
Are you going with Tom Brady? Fate of the universe on the line. Fate of the universe on the line.
Am I going with?
We need a touchdown. We need a
yes.
Okay,
Am I going with
okay.
the greatest comeback quarterback ever? The guy that they invented the idea of leaving too much time on the clock for? Yes, I'm going with Tom Brady.
We need a 40-yard touchdown. Can you do it?
Am I?
No. See, he's stumbling. It would have been a quick answer if you really believed it.
I am floored right now. Yes, Tom Brady can throw a 40-yard touchdown when it matters.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
The majority of his touchdowns that he threw in his career are dink and dunk.
No, That's
Yes,
not true.
that is-
Tom Brady
that is
was great at decision
statistically
making,
accurate.
so he took the check down when needed.
He was
that
throwing
is not true.
slants.
It's mostly,
He is a historic slant thrower. That
you
is
want to
not
know
the
why
GOAT
he
of all
threw so
goats.
many slants? Because he was
'Cause
so
that's what he
great
could
at
throw.
elevating the mid
'Cause he doesn't have
receivers
the
he had,
arm
other
talent
than
of
Randy
a
Moss,
Peyton Manning.
throughout his whole
He
career.
doesn't have the arm talent of an Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't have the arm
Tom
talent of
Brady
a Patrick
elevating
Mahomes.
these
So with
undrafted
the
dudes.
fate
All
of the
they could
universe-
run is slants. He's not telling these undrafted.
All they
little-
can run is slants.
A lot of the guys, yeah, a lot of them. Not Randy Moss,
You
not
see what
Gronk,
Tom Brady-
obviously.
So you're minimizing your wide receivers now, and with the fate of the universe on the
you
line,
know how many Pro Bowls
he's gonna
Brady's
throw a
receivers have had?
slant,
Not a lot.
and the drive is going to end. And
When
what
did
happened
the drive
in 2000?
end? You're acting like Tom Brady always comes up short in clutch. That's literally the opposite of what's always happened.
I said, with the fate of the universe on the line.
Yes, I
we
will
need
take
a
Tom Brady.
40-yard touchdown. Other than Tom Brady, any competitor in any competition, fate of the universe on the line, who are you taking?
The only other person I'll entertain in the GOAT of all GOATs conversation is Joey Chestnut.
I'm done. I'm done.
My next claim is Patrick Mahomes is chasing a ghost and has no chance of catching Tom Brady's legacy.
Well, what's your argument? Like, who's he? How is he not chasing?
My
him?
argument is that I think people are completely underestimating Brady's longevity and assuming that anybody else will ever reach that. Because Tom Brady led the league in passing with over 5,000 yards at 44 years old. We are assuming that Patrick Mahomes is going to be able to sustain this level of play for 14 more years.
Well, you're assuming he can, and I'm confused why. Players are just playing longer.
Because historical evidence suggests Tom Brady's the only one to ever play that well for that long. Why are we assuming anybody else ever going to do that?
Because the way sports science is going, players are just playing for longer.
I agree, they are playing for longer, but that doesn't mean you're going to get the extreme case of a guy leading. Again, how insane is that? He led the league in passing at 44. People just act like
he's throwing the ball to 3 Hall of Famers. Antonio
people
Brown.
are acting like that. Antonio Brown ripped off his jersey and left mid-game.
He was incredible in that game, though. Again, I watched that game against the Jets. He was incredible in that game.
I don't honestly remember what he did in that game.
He was routing up. Granted, it was Brandon Eccles, but he was routing up. Antonio Brown was unbelievable when he was on the Bucs, and he had Mike Evans and Rob Gronkowski and Chris Godwin and playoff Lenny and the best pass rush in football. System quarterback
I'll also
Tom Brady.
Point out, look, we've got the longevity argument of I understand sports medicine's getting better. Guys are playing better for longer, absolutely. I still don't think they are going to necessarily this quickly, within the time frame of Patrick Mahomes' career, advance to that point where every quarterback is playing really well at 43, 44. We might get there 50 years down the line where that's happening, but for right now, Brady is absolutely the exception to that rule. And furthermore, looking at this season, the Chiefs are in the dumpster. The Chiefs are out of the playoff picture. That never happened to Tom Brady.
His second year starting, he went 9-7, didn't make the playoffs.
Second year starting. And Patrick Mahomes is 8 years
what
into
Patrick
his career
Mahomes doing
in
his second year starting?
prime.
What did he do in his second year starting?
Where you're changing the argument. That's not the argument.
I'm just saying. You're saying it doesn't matter. You're the one moving the goal, but it doesn't matter that it was his second year.
I'm saying
when Patrick Mahomes was in his second year, he won the Super Bowl.
If you are going to have a GOAT case, you cannot be in the middle of your prime and miss the playoffs. Tom Brady never did that. Tom Brady missed the playoffs in his second year as a starter. Darn. Patrick Mahomes is about to miss it.
And Patrick Mahomes won the Super Bowl in his second year as a starter. That's the difference.
I'm not talking about Mahomes.
That's the difference.
I'm talking about middle of our. Why are we missing the playoffs in the middle of our prime?
Listen, it's an inopportune time to have that take. It's an inopportune time to have that take.
It's awfully inconvenient for you, isn't it?
It is, but let's not act like what Patrick Mahomes has done so far isn't better than what Brady did in his first 9 seasons.
Let's not act like Patrick Mahomes hasn't been hemorrhaging since Tyreek Hill left and since
he won 2 Super Bowls after Tyreek Hill left. What are we talking about? What are we talking about?
Travis Kelce is a grandpa in the middle of the
field. And he won a Super Bowl with Travis Kelce 2 years ago.
Is he going to win the Super Bowl this year?
Did he win the Super Bowl
last year? No, they got blown out by the Eagles.
That was the worst game Patrick Mahomes ever played. I can't dispute that.
But to act like he's chasing a ghost.
To act like he's chasing a ghost is simply incorrect and deluded. The reason you have that argument in the first place is because you know Patrick Mahomes is a threat to Tom Brady's legacy.
Well, a couple years ago he did scare me a little bit. Not anymore.
He scared you in February. If he three-peated, he would have already been the GOAT. But he didn't. So
he didn't.
I understand.
He didn't exactly.
I think this argument in of itself, it speaks to how good Patrick Mahomes is, because the fact that we can even talk about, he might miss the playoffs this year, so now all of a sudden he's chasing a ghost when, like we just mentioned, the Patriots, they won their first 3. Shout out to Adam Vinatieri and shout out to the defense. They won those first 3 Super Bowls, right? We go 10 years where we don't see the Patriots appear in a Super Bowl. So I don't know necessarily if 1 year of Mahomes missing the playoffs now is, the reason to start having all these conversations when just last year he was the GOAT already. Like, that was a thing. That was a common argument that
psychopathic argument.
No, I think it was pretty much justified. When did Brady three-peat? So that's what I'm saying. So if he would have done that, the argument would have been justified. And I think that I'm not going to put, Andy Reid might retire, so that means that Mahomes will never see the Super Bowl again, or he'll never catch up, because I think just from a talent standpoint, he's better than Brady. So he might not need to lean on the coaching. He might not need to lean on Andy Reid's culture as much. They might be able to bring somebody else in, and he can, get just there.
To that, I would say even the minor coaching changes have drastically affected Patrick Mahomes. Eric Bieniemy, who I don't even know what he's doing right now, is what got the best out of Patrick Mahomes. Matt Nagy is there right now, and Mahomes doesn't seem to know which way is up. He's having a good season statistically, but the offense itself is absolutely not, flowing the way that we've seen the prime Chiefs do in the past. People want to project so many years in the future of, he's just going to keep doing this. He's going to keep on this trajectory. So many things change or will change over the course of, what Brady retired at 44, 45. Let's say Mahomes somehow plays that long. So many things will change over the course of 14 years that I am not convinced Mahomes is prepared to navigate the way Brady was able to.
Navigate in terms of the league?
In terms of coaching changes, in terms of what may come their way, because they've already dealt with offensive coordinator changes that have not gone well for him, quite frankly. I'm sure they're going to get somebody else in there that's not Matt Nagy, hopefully next year if they know what's good for them. But, again, I don't think people fully understand what all goes into a guy being that good the way Brady was up until his mid-40s. I mean, the dude is literally grandpa age. Shout out Phillip Rivers, returning, by the way, literally a grandpa, same age. It's just crazy, unlikely, and it's unlikely it repeats no matter who you are. I know Mahomes has sort of the head start of already having those 3 rings, and so you're like, he's at the same place Brady was when Brady was 30. That doesn't mean it's going to play out the same way the rest of his career. It is, in fact, statistically just unlikely that it's going to.
All right, so say that there comes a team that just has this stacked defense, and so maybe Mahomes maybe it's not the Chiefs. Maybe he leaves and pulls a Brady and goes to a Bucs team. Like, who's to say that he wouldn't be able to do that? I don't like that argument, because I feel like from a talent standpoint, he can do things that Brady can't do. So I think he can elevate his team. He can make plays when it counts in the fourth quarter. He can do things that Brady couldn't do with the football, and I think that would translate to him being able to win. I think the chasing a ghost. What's the ghost? 7 rings?
Just the status of being the greatest of all time. 7 rings is incorporated into that, yeah, but it's also the longevity and the stats and all that come with it.
All right. Now, I mean, I guess I could see that, but I just don't think that's accurate. I feel like he has the best chance out of anybody to catch him, and even if he doesn't, maybe somebody else will. But I think that Patrick Mahomes is, without a doubt, a better quarterback, and I think that the better quarterback can make the better plays and elevate the people around him, like by actually throwing the ball down the field, by actually scrambling and kind of moving around a little bit. His ankle will get better.
We'll see if he's scrambling at 37. The Russell Wilson decline didn't go quite well once the mobility left him.
We're not even talking about. I don't even want to.
Lamar Jackson's not looking too good with his bum ankle either. When the legs
the
legs go, everything else goes.
Lamar's got some.
Brady didn't need the mobility. He didn't need it. That was
of course, you need the mobility when you're throwing behind the line of scrimmage. Of course you don't need mobility.
Sorry, he makes great decisions all the time.
He has a great team around him.
My next claim is Tom Brady is the most clutch athlete in sports history.
Ladies and gentlemen, he is lying. Because we want to talk about clutch. Everybody sees what I'm looking at right now. I'll raise you more and more and more. I'll raise you 2007, 2011. You have 5th seed Eli Manning. He beats the Bucks, he beats the Cowboys, he beats the Packers, and what does he do? He gets to Tom Brady, and what happens? He wins. You talk about somebody being clutch. Is it clutch to have offensive weapons, Bill Belichick, good defense, good offensive line, or is clutch to be doubted? In 2011, before the season started, it was an article that came out where Eli Manning said, they asked him if he was part of the same conversation as Tom Brady. He said he is. And what does he do 2011? He beats Tom Brady. Yep. What are we talking about when we talk about clutch? That's what you call clutch. And the first time, 2007, 80-plus yards in the fourth quarter. He goes again 2011, same exact thing. He knows that, listen, if I wanted to get first ballot Hall of Fame, all I need to do is play Tom Brady every single year. That's how good he is.
Here's the thing about Eli Manning. He wasn't good enough to play Tom Brady every year. He didn't get to the Super Bowl other than those 2 years against Tom Brady and the Patriots. I don't know how you can call a guy the most clutch athlete over Tom Brady when he only made it to that point twice. Yes, he directly beat a Tom Brady team in those scenarios, but he also was only that close in that game because his defense allowed him to be in a one-possession game the entire time.
I love you.
You love me? I love you too.
I love you.
I love you too.
I love you. You know why I love you? Because you just helped my argument.
Okay.
You talk about defense. We talk about 28-3. Everybody says, "Oh my God, Tom Brady came back, great comeback." How many points did the defense let up after the third quarter?
Brother, what was the score up to that point?
Zero.
What are we ignoring?
We
the first
talk about
half
clutch.
points?
Why don't we talk about Trey Flowers? Why don't we talk about 2.5 sacks
I
in
have
the
a
game?
poster of Trey Flowers.
When we talk about clutch, why don't we talk about the inefficiency of Pete Carroll, Marshawn Lynch, beast mode?
that was dumb.
You
That was
don't
dumb.
run the ball. What do? You come on. I'm even stirring on my because it's insane what really happened. Malcolm Butler. So when we talk about clutch, Trey Flowers is clutch. Malcolm Butler is clutch. Tom Brady was on the sideline crying like, "Damn, I lost another one." And then he sees Malcolm.
Do you have the footage of that? You have the found footage of that? Can I get the security footage of that one?
I can send it right
I'd like
after
to
the
see
game.
that one.
And then Malcolm Butler comes with the game-winning pick. He's like, "Oh shit, I call life."
Do you want to know how you get into so many situations where that can happen? You lead your team to the Super Bowl 10 times. You allow for other factors to come into play when you get your team there, when throughout the regular season and throughout the playoffs, you are constantly completing and leading these game-winning drives. Brady is the guy that everybody was afraid of if it was a one-possession game and you had to kick the ball off back to Tom
everybody
Brady
but
with 2
one
minutes
person.
left. Eli
Everybody
Manning
but
is the
one
luckiest
person.
I've
How
ever
is
seen
it
in my
lucky?
life. Pinned to the helmet. He's not that good.
He evaded pressure.
He did. He did evade pressure. He did evade pressure. That is
He
true.
didn't catch it off his helmet.
He evaded pressure.
That
It happened
Manningham catch
twice.
was wild though. That was
Hardest
wild.
game was probably the Packers. Go OT. That was probably the
Eli
hardest
Manning
game.
just
When
doesn't have the amount of comebacks, the amount of clutch moments that Brady did. He just had them head-to-head versus Tom Brady, which puts the spotlight on him. Doesn't mean he's more clutch.
He would have zero, but Tom Brady is making him relevant.
That's just Tom Brady's greatness for you.
Football is the ultimate team sport, as we've talked about time and time again. So shout out Eli Manning. We wouldn't be talking about this clutch catch if Asante Samuels could catch a football, right? Sure. He would have been picked off. Tom Brady doesn't have, we've been over this, right? Doesn't have the Super Bowls if the defense doesn't step up, if Malcolm Butler doesn't make that incredible play, if James White doesn't score 3 touchdowns in the comeback, right? There's a lot of guys to credit around. When you talk about Michael Jordan making a game-winning shot, when you talk about Shohei Ohtani being at the plate in a game-clinching game and hitting 4 home runs and pitching 6 innings, I don't see how he could be the best player of all time. He could be Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady have a baby goat and get up there and win 10 Super Bowls. I don't see how you could say they're the most clutch athlete of all time when we have all these sports that rely on individuality even within a team.
Again, it brings me back to the elevation of players around you. And I want to ask you something real
Sure,
quick.
ask me. Go ahead.
Are you going to sit here with a straight face and tell me that James White was the driving force? James White was that good of a player. It wasn't that James White, this scatback, was elevated by Tom Brady. That wasn't what happened.
Did we say driving force or clutchest athlete?
You wanted to discredit Tom Brady by
Right,
saying that
but like,
James White scored 3 touchdowns in a game.
For an example.
Does James White score 3 touchdowns for any team in any game anywhere else if he's not with Tom Brady?
If he's not in a great system with a great offensive line.
You guys love the S word.
Wait. But you listen to this, right? Tracy McGrady scores 13 points in 30 seconds or whatever it is and wins the game.
That was awesome.
There is no condition under which a quarterback can do that.
That's true. That's true. But those are, again, individual moments and different contexts. Again, to me, more impressive to be able to elevate a team to those feats.
Eli Manning is the only person to beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, not once, but twice, right? And both times he did it were just phenomenal stories. The 2007 season, they snuck into the playoffs, and everyone doubted them, like he said earlier, right? And what does he do? He goes all the way to the Super Bowl, and he has one of the most clutch drives of all time with the helmet catch, and he threw, I'm pretty sure, for 2 touchdowns that game, right? It was just a phenomenal showing. Not to only mention that, but shout out to the other Manning brother, Peyton, who's also kept Tom Brady on his toes for most of his career. But then we go back to the other Super Bowl, right? The second one, where the Giants also had a great team, but no one still thought they were going to win it. I feel like compared to these teams that Eli has gone against, the skill overall on these Patriots teams and the 2007 Super Bowl, that team was known as the greatest Patriots team of all time, the Juggernauts. Eli Manning to be the only person, and don't even take regular season into account because that's a different argument, and that's when I'm like, okay, sure, Eli's not nearly as good, but clutch, it's Eli Manning.
Eli Manning has more high-profile clutch moments, like just greater individual moments
There
than
it
Tom
is.
Brady does.
There it is. That's
doesn't-
it.
That doesn't
Oh, you
make
just said it. You just said it.
That doesn't make you the
That is
most
just
clutch
it right there.
athlete. That's not it.
He is the most
you yelling
clutch
doesn't
athlete.
mean you win. You yelling does not mean you win. No.
Sometimes it does.
having better like individual two moments than what Tom Brady would have does not mean he's more clutch than Tom Brady. Tom Brady has done it strictly in quantity. He's done it throughout the 25 years that he played. He was clutch basically every single week of his entire 2-decade-long career. He's a more clutch player in totality.
But was he, or were the Patriots just really clutch? I mean, we've already said it once during this debate, but that man has had loaded teams with him pretty much every year he was in the league.
I don't know that I would say he's had loaded teams with him every year, especially not from an offensive supporting cast point of view. The best receiver he ever had, as somebody astutely pointed out earlier, Tom Brady did not win a Super Bowl with Randy Moss. Yes, he had Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski is amazing. Outside of Rob Gronkowski, do you know how many Pro Bowl receivers Tom Brady even played with on the Patriots? Hardly any. Troy Brown, I think, made like one. Outside of that, Wes Welker had to be a Pro Bowler. I'm an idiot.
You're also forgetting
But-
Edelman and Deion Branch.
No, those are good players, absolutely. But I'm saying these are not guys who, I mean, God, anytime anybody brings up Julian Edelman and says like Hall of Fame, everybody's like, you are a fucking moron. No. So I just don't think this idea that Brady's had these great weapons, especially run game too. Tom Brady was dealing with LeGarrette Blount, who then rumbled for 18 touchdowns because Brady got him on the goal line every 5 seconds. I just don't think the supporting cast thing is correct.
I completely disagree. The Patriots have had plenty of loaded teams, countless Hall of Famers, and that's why Eli Manning is the most clutch player of all time.
My next claim is no athlete has done more with less than Tom Brady.
All right, so the claim is Tom Brady's done more with less than anyone. That's just utterly ridiculous because Tom Brady had Spygate going for him. He had Deflategate going for him. He had so many other factors with him, and he had great coaching staffs, great defenses. He had Hall of Fame receivers. This notion is absolutely preposterous. How could you possibly even think that?
Hall of Fame receiver, who he didn't win a Super Bowl with, again, to his detriment, sure, but that is not what contributed to any of the championships that he won. You know why Tom Brady had a great defense so many times, other than just Bill Belichick being the architect behind it?
Yeah, because they had great front office choosing players.
Do you know how they were able to hold on to and pay those players, how they were able to bring in Darrelle Revis for the 2014 Super Bowl run? Because it was not, we need to pay a bunch of these great skill players to be able to go to these championships and win them. It was, we can pay the defense some of this money to get good defenses behind Tom Brady, because we know Brady's going to elevate whoever we bring in. Whichever random scat back from Weber State we want to make our starting running back, he's going to make it work. That guy's probably going to finish with double-digit touchdowns.
I think that the right answer here, if we're actually talking about the most with less in the history of sports, even though he didn't win the championship, is LeBron James in 2007 dragging that sorry Cleveland Cavaliers team to the NBA Finals, where you literally can't name another legitimate player on that entire roster. It was Zydrunas Ilgauskas, Eric Snow. These are absolutely nobody.
The disrespect to Mo Williams, I think, was on that team.
The most with less. Tom Brady always had great coaching staffs, unbelievable defensive players. The correct answer here is 07 LeBron, who took a cast of absolutely nobodies in the history of basketball that probably would never be on a legitimate roster otherwise, and he took that team to the NBA Finals. Tom Brady cannot say that at any point in his entire career. LeBron 07, you cannot argue against it.
I won't argue against the individual season of
The most
LeBron doing
with
that
less.
being incredible.
Thank you.
I'm talking about over the big picture, Tom Brady doing more with less. Again, all of the Super Bowls, all of the Super Bowl appearances with the teams he's had. This dude is dragging lacrosse player Chris Hogan to be
LeBron
one
James
of
is
his
dropping
best
Eric
receivers
Snow to the NBA Finals.
For a season. Brady drags these short little white slot guys to Super Bowls every 5
Julian
minutes.
Edelman and Wes
people act
Welker
like
are
it's
not
normal.
short little slot guys. Those are
They objectively are.
No, they are.
They objectively
they are
are.
great receivers.
I'm minimizing
Randy
the
Moss,
role a little
Rob
bit,
Gronkowski.
but objectively, are
You
they
are
not?
disrespecting
Are they not short?
the skill
Are they
of
not
being
white?
a receiver in the NFL? Their skin color? What are we talking about?
The more with less debate is one I love, and your 2007 LeBron argument is great, but I want to bring up a recent event that might challenge this going
Los
forward.
Angeles Dodgers.
No.
good.
It's basketball. It's not football. But what about the Pacers from last year, right? That team without Tyrese Halliburton right now is damn near dead last in the East. And to take the fact that they made the finals last year, even though the East was not great, in a pretty loaded NBA with a team that the only competent player besides Tyrese Halliburton was Pascal Siakam, I think that goes to show that in the future, an athlete like Tyrese Halliburton may be able to surpass the more with less claim than Tom Brady, who, as I said earlier, has had countless loaded teams in his tenure in the NFL.
Respect to the Pacers. Respect to Tyrese Halliburton. I love that guy. He's a huge wrestling fan. So am I. Shout out to New Mexico State's finest, Pascal Siakam, as well. However, I understand where you're coming from. I don't think you can really bring the Pacers into the argument when they didn't finish the job. And I know incredibly difficult to finish the job when your guy tears his Achilles in the finals. I understand that completely. But I just don't think that can stand up to winning championships. You know, if the Pacers had managed to finish that job, great. That would have been one of the more impressive things I've ever seen in NBA history. A, they didn't. And B, if they had, I still would have kind of fallen back on the same Cavs argument, which is like, that is an awesome, awesome individual season feat. Does not stack up to what Brady did over 2+ decades.
But going back to that, right? And yes, the Pacers did not finish the job. Unfortunately, Halliburton did tear his Achilles, and that team was just clearly not able to do without him. But back to the more than less debate, you take away the skill players that Tom Brady had on those teams, that's probably 1 or 2 Super Bowls at least subtracted from that number.
I don't know, man. I look at the Super Bowls that Brady...
System quarterback.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Word. I look at the
system
Super Bowls
quarterback, man.
Some of the lead is particularly in the run game that Brady was able to elevate and just honestly account for the fact that he didn't have a very good run game. Those latter 3 Super Bowls with the Patriots, their leading rushers were Jonas Gray, first of all, in the first one in 2014. He had like 400 yards. After that, it was Shane Vereen and Stephen Ridley, both under 400 yards. A Super Bowl winning quarterback, a Super Bowl winning team with no running back over 400, I think 12 yards is what Gray finished with, most of it coming in that one game that we all know about, and then he overslept his alarm. Whatever the fuck. He's never really had a great running back. The other Super Bowls were LeGarrette Blount with his 18 touchdowns, and then Sony Michel, who, shout out to him, he scored the only touchdown in that Rams Super Bowl, but he still is not a very good running back, way out of the league. Nick Chubb still chugging along, same draft class, same team, all that. Tom Brady did not have this great supporting cast all the time that people like to pretend he did.
I disagree, especially when you take into account with the receivers he's had over the years and Rob Gronkowski for most of his tenure. You don't need a running back to lift that weight when you have the receiving power that is at the top of the echelon in the NFL, and Gronk, who is the best tight end of all time, in my opinion, and a loaded defense year in and year out.
Listen, if I can come out of an argument with you saying Gronk's the greatest tight end of all time, I'll consider that a win, so I'm good.
You keep talking about the totality of his career. So totality
yes,
is having 2 of the best field goal kickers of all time doing more with less. Is having a consistent defense, top 10 defense, doing more with less. They already brought up Gronk. We talked about how they went and got Randy Moss, and that didn't work out. So this is the next part of my argument. You talk about this lack of receivers, like no big names, right? That was the Patriot way, though. They didn't want those big names.
Why do you think the Patriot way
It didn't work when they got Randy Moss.
Do you think the Patriot way comes to be if they don't have Brady as their quarterback?
You're missing the argument here. You're missing the argument.
Go ahead.
When they got their big name in Randy Moss, they did not win. So they're gonna. So they probably did some reflecting and say maybe we don't get those big name guys. They didn't want the drama. You saw what happened when Antonio Brown went there. It was nothing but a headache. Even though Brady said, he's just so talented, I got to get him again in Tampa Bay, because he knew that's what those guys do. They elevate Brady. They make Brady look even better, because that's what Antonio Brown did. But that's what I'm saying. That's the Patriot way. They didn't want those big names. When you have guys that know their role, like an Edelman, like a Chris Hogan, a Wes Welker, that was what they wanted to do. So you just say Brady did more with less because of the names, but that's what they wanted to do. That's the system they wanted. They also drafted somebody else that we shouldn't talk about because of what happened to him, number 81. That was supposed to be their main weapon too. Don't forget about him, how talented he was coming out of Florida. Yeah. So we can't just act like Brady did more with less just because that's the way it happened. That was by choice what the Patriots did.
That is a luxury to be able to say we are going to try to do more with these lesser receivers. It is a testament to Brady to be able to make that work, and so that they can spread the money, spread the assets around to everything else. Brady was able to elevate lesser offensive players than what most great other quarterbacks, especially of his time, were able to do, and that's just because he's Tom Brady.
I'll just say one more thing. Obviously, he's very young in his career. We don't know what's going to happen. They may lose first round of the playoffs. Look at what McDaniels is doing with Drake May right now. Do they have any big-name receivers outside?
I'm not arguing.
Mac Hollins is looking like a superstar in New England right now. That's all I'll say.
That's all I'm going to say. Anything bad about Drake May. It won't happen. My next claim is Tom Brady is the main reason the NFL has gained popularity and become a global league.
Bro, I'm pretty sure the Patriots games is one of the lowest watched games, like in terms of all NFL teams. Bro, nobody was really turning on Patriots games, like running home to go see Tom Brady on the field.
I don't think that's true. I think if you look at the rate, my main point behind this is that every great league to grow needs a great villain, and Tom Brady was that villain for the longest time. People were tuning into Super Bowls hoping and praying that he would lose. That was the main narrative of the NFL for legitimately 2 decades, and he did a great job in that role.
I never really turned the game on and really seen Tom Brady as like the best player on the field. Like that's why.
That's a you problem.
Nah, bro. Like
that's a you problem.
Bro, Tom Brady don't really got like no defining moments for real. You know what I'm saying?
No defining moments.
Yeah, nah, not really. Nah.
Tom Brady?
Tell me a defining moment.
Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr.
Tell me a defining moment.
Tom Brady.
Defining moment.
He won 7 Super Bowls.
But that's not defining. We talking about moment. We talking about big moments.
So you want the flashy individual moments because you like the dopamine hit of the flashy play. You want Tom Brady to go out there and make an Odell catch.
I need to play like that.
So you just are bored by sustained greatness. You are bored by sustained greatness.
You sitting there just dropping back, throwing the ball. You getting mad.
I'm so sorry that it's boring to you that he drops back, gets the snap, and makes the right decision every single time. I'm sorry that's boring to you.
And then he playing in the weakest division. You playing with the fucking Miami Dolphins, the New York Jets. The Jets ain't won a championship since 1968. You ain't playing no competition.
The division blows. I'm not going to argue with you there. The division blows, but then he gets out of the division, and what does he do? He rifles through the playoffs most of the time.
I literally told you earlier, Blake Bortles could have won a championship with the Buccaneers. Anybody could have won a championship with that Buccaneers team. I probably could have won a championship with that Buccaneers team.
Still, Buccaneers is still 7% of Brady's whole career, if that. That's not really worth bringing up. And Bortles, I mean, I miss Blake Bortles.
You can't
That's
say
all I'll
he
say
made
about
the league bigger when his team literally said, "Yo, we don't need Tom Brady to win." They said he had system players, and they got him up out of there.
You love this argument
about
senile.
They gave up on him. They gave up on him, bro. That's all I'm saying. Nobody can argue that.
I can't argue with the idea that
they gave up on him. Yes or no?
Yes, they did.
Yes.
Wrongfully so. They had an idiot, senile decision maker at the top. I don't care what that guy thinks anymore.
How many years Tom Brady played with the Buccaneers?
3.
And you won 1 Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing, bro. You gotta do more. You gotta do more. You gotta do more.
He was in his 40s.
Bro, you have that level of talent. You gotta do more, bro. When you really say you the greatest of all time.
You wanted him to win all 3 of them? You wanted him to win all 3 every year?
2 out of the 3. Kevin Durant won 2 out of the 3 with the Warriors.
All right, I'm sorry he fell short of your expectations.
I'm saying he didn't really do what he was supposed to do.
I'm sorry he fell short of your expectations.
So hold on. If we just talking about accolades, I'm gonna give you that. But I'm talking about in terms of all-time talent. Would you say Tom Brady is the most talented quarterback of all time?
Talent? No.
Okay, because I can name at least 20 players that got
I'm with you.
talent.
Physically, I won't argue with you. Physically gifted?
I'm not even talking about other positions. I'm talking about quarterbacks.
The NFL is, especially quarterback position, physical makeup, mental makeup. Number 1 up here, not so much.
I can't say you have the best mental makeup, though, when you losing Nick Foles in the Super Bowl, though, bro. You lost to Nick Foles.
He wasn't playing DB. He threw for 500 yards.
So you say he needed defense to win the championship?
He needed them to be a little better that game, yeah.
There is not a single thing you could point to that says Tom Brady helped contribute to the growth of the National Football League. If anything, Tom Brady did more to potentially hurt the integrity of the game and the growth of the game than maybe any player in the last 20 years. You talk about Spygate, you talk about Deflategate, which he got suspended for. Like, he did more to hurt the game and hurt the integrity of the game, and now you see what he's doing. He tries to maneuver the rules so he can announce and be an owner. He constantly tries to bend the rules, create scandals for himself. He has done way more to hurt the game than he has to grow the game. We just watched the highest rated regular season game in NFL history. You know who had absolutely nothing to do with it? Tom Brady.
Wasn't he on the call?
No, he was not. It was on CBS.
I just wanted to make sure.
Believe me,
that would have been funny if he was.
If that game was on Fox, no one wants to hear Tom Brady commentate. He's horrible at it. He's done more to hurt the game. He's bad at commentating. He's a terrible owner. He's ruining the Raiders. He's made the Raiders the most unwatchable team in sports today.
The Raiders didn't need his help to do that. Tom Brady was absolutely the main contributor to making the NFL so global.
What stat can you point to? Point me to one thing.
I don't have the Nielsen ratings in front of me.
We're not just talking about ratings. How did Tom Brady help grow the game?
Because to create interest for casual viewers, people who are maybe sort of on just the border of becoming an NFL fan, when you're trying to grow the game, Do you know what helps? Having that big, bad villain that you want to watch get taken down. With baseball, I don't really care about baseball. Do you know what I tune into the World Series for? I like trying to see the Dodgers lose. That's because I'm a casual baseball fan. I want to tune in to see the villain go down. I know for a fact, I grew up in Connecticut, which is kind of a mishmash. It's mostly New England Patriots fans, but there's a lot of Giants. There's a lot of Jets surrounding us too. I know for a fact a lot of people tuned in just to hate watch. They would not tune in if the Super Bowl every year was some combination of Broncos, 49ers, or whatever the hell. You're a great fan, and good for you. But not everybody's going to do that. I think this is exemplified by the NBA Finals ratings since the NBA has kind of gone into a bit of a parity era have just dwindled. And the NBA as a league is more global than it's ever been because international, signings and drafting and all that, NIL and college has helped all that. But the ratings for the finals themselves and the exposure for the league going down because people are bored with parody. I like parody as an objective fan, but as far as interest and bringing in casual viewers, it is not helpful.
Tom Brady, like I said before, has done nothing to grow the game. People will watch the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys are exponentially high rate. If Tom Brady never stepped foot on an NFL field, the ratings would be the same as they are, if not higher than they've ever been.
I think that's insane. That's pure
Dallas Cowboys.
insanity.
It's 100% fact.
Pure
the NFL is
insanity.
king. Doesn't matter who's playing, who's watching. The Pro Bowl gets extreme ratings. Doesn't matter. Tom Brady's done nothing. If anything, he's hurt the game. End of debate. Goodbye.
Okay.
So you clearly know a lot about football. I agree, Brady. I've already said this. I'm going to come up and kind of repeat myself a little bit, but the key word that you use there is globally, right? We're talking about growing the game globally. I was lucky. I lived in Europe a lot of my life, right? Globally, I'll just tell you, in the last 5 years in Europe, the game has grown 600 times the amount than it ever did in the previous 20 years. And that's not Brady's fault. He's not playing right now. But the main reason for the growth globally, we talked about it earlier, it's because of the growth in social media. And it's because of the growth of the NFL and Roger Goodell saying, hey, we're going to go out and play 20 games in Europe and Mexico and Brazil and everything. It's a boring answer, but that's the reality. Brady played at a time when it was a uniquely American game, and as Americans, we had a privilege of watching him, and I agree he was a villain, but he did not do anything during his time to grow the game globally, mainly not to his own fault, but because the game wasn't at a place where it was able to grow globally. And nowadays, like it or not, it's more entertaining, right? We have way more crazy storylines. We have Mahomes and Allen and Lamar and, Brock Purdy coming in and all these crazy things. And everybody can watch the NFL on their phones and on their TVs at a much accessible level, at a higher level, at a faster level. They can go to a game at Wembley. They can go to a game in Germany. They can do everything they want. And now we are at a place where the NFL is so much more global. And it's not because of Brady. It's not really even because of one player. It's just a product of where we are in time, how social media and technology has evolved, and because the NFL has made a conscientious effort to put those games abroad and make it a focus.
I'm with you. Social media absolutely helps. Just the expansion of everything, consumption of media has absolutely helped all that. I would argue that these games being placed in all these other countries now and expanding around the globe is sort of a delayed effect of largely what Brady did for the game. Brady brought all these eyes onto the NFL as a villain, people wanting to watch him get taken down. Yeah, that kind of stuff is not going to be an instant effect kind of thing. Like, oh, guys, we want to watch Brady, get taken down. Let's throw a game in Africa so they can see it. Like, this has been a slow and steady progress, a slow and steady, improvement of getting the NFL in these other countries. I don't think you can take that fully away from Tom Brady's impact, because if the NFL was not drawing as many eyes as it was during the Tom Brady era, I don't know that these doors open for these other countries to be wanting games, for the NFL to be able to put these games in these places. So I think he's just had a big impact in that sense.
I agree it didn't happen overnight. I agree it was a process. I don't think the villain argument means as much as it does, because the villain argument is only relevant when you have Jets fans sitting over here who hate Tom Brady because they've grown up their whole life watching him beat him. If you're a random kid in a random country somewhere else, you don't have this hatred of Tom Brady, right? You're watching a game. This is your first NFL game. You want to be entertained. You want to be hooked in. You want to be grabbed in. And like it or not, the reality is, if your first ever game was the Patriots and the Rams in the Super Bowl 13-3, fuck this, I'm never watching the NFL again. That's the reaction. I watched the game, and I actually thought that as well after watching the game.
That's probably
so.
true.
The reality is, he wasn't really box office if you didn't know the story behind him, and if you didn't grow up with a reason to hate him. A lot of us in this room grew up with a reason to hate him. He tormented a lot of franchises. But as far as growing the neutral fan abroad and growing just interest in the game of football, a beautiful game that we all love, he wasn't the guy that did that. A guy like Lamar Jackson is a guy who does that because of the way he plays, the flash that he plays with, and what he does. For a neutral, that's a much more enjoyable viewing experience on a one-to-one game, which I think is a much bigger factor in terms of growing the game abroad than it is here.
Everyone before me has brought up great points, but I want to simplify this a little more because there's something that hasn't been said here that I think is the very general reason of why football is becoming bigger globally. Yes, they are expanding into London, Brazil, all these other places, and that's great. But it comes down to a very simple concept. Football is the only legal gladiator sport left in the world. Right? UFC does not hold the same weight as 11 people on each team on a field trying to get a ball in the end zone where tackling is permitted. And yes, there are refs and officiating and all that, but it's the last standing sport that enables full contact and full brutality to an extent. And viewers love that. It's becoming bigger around the world because things like soccer, volleyball, Olympic sports, they are not as entertaining to watch statistically. People have their opinions. That's fair. But for everyone in this room, I'm going to assume, and for most people watching this video at home, and for most people who enjoy football, they can say there's nothing more entertaining than two grown men going at it, trying to tackle each other to score points, getting paid millions of dollars.
I won't disagree with you there because watching the Patriots blow up the Giants players multiple times on Monday Night Football the other week was the highlight of probably my whole season. So I think Brady had a bigger impact than all of that stuff overall, but I understand where you're coming from.
It goes beyond Tom Brady. It goes beyond Patrick Mahomes. It's the general concept of the sport.
Nothing ever goes beyond Tom Brady.
Patrick Mahomes does, and so does the sport, but I digress.
My next claim is, you know what? For this one, I'm going to be a hater. Eli Manning does not belong in the Hall of Fame.
Yo, pull up.
Oh, no.
Pull up. Bro, say the claim one more time, bro.
Eli Manning does not belong in the Hall of Fame.
Eli Manning, the best quarterback of all time. What are y'all talking about? What are y'all talking about? Bro, listen.
He doesn't
He
even
beat
believe
him.
that.
He beat him. Not just once, twice. What we talking about? What are we talking about? Come on. What's the argument?
You want me to respond?
Yes,
I thought you were going to yell over me like you have most of the other times. You want me to respond?
Yes,
Eli Manning's Hall of Fame case is the same as when you put a pair of receiver gloves in the Hall of Fame because a guy went for a 300-yard game. He had moments. He doesn't have the resume for him as himself to get into the Hall of Fame. You want to put David Tyree's helmet in the Hall of Fame? It's probably already in there. But Eli himself does not belong there. He is a moment merchant. He does not have the full body of work because for my entire life, other than those Super Bowl runs, he was mediocre. He was never, ever considered a top-tier quarterback in the league growing up. Big Ben, Peyton Manning, Phillip Rivers, all of them better.
Tom Brady is the GOAT of all GOATs in your words, correct?
Yes.
Okay, now let me take this to a different sport so I can just make an example.
Take me on a ride.
LeBron James is the GOAT of all GOATs. Steph Curry, little Steph Curry, the underdog, has made his claim to fame by beating the GOAT of all GOATs, LeBron James. We can make the same case in the NFL. Eli Manning, underdog, little guy, nobody thinks anything of him, beats the GOAT of all GOATs, not once, but twice in the big game. And not only, he didn't just beat him in the Super Bowl, because you don't just get to the Super Bowl. You have to win in the playoffs. He doesn't have the luxury of having home field advantage every single year and only having to play 2 games to even get to the Super Bowl.
Sorry he's that great that he earns home field every year.
Sorry that he doesn't play for Bill Belichick. That's really what it is.
Okay.
So he had to play for Tom Coughlin. He had to get out the mud. He knows something about being a real football player, being tough, having to go on the road in multiple cities, having to pull out clutch victory after clutch victory after clutch victory when nobody thought he was going to win. It's so easy to be the favorite and, the Patriots it's just a cakewalk to the AFC Championship, almost like the Chiefs of the modern era. It's the same thing. And so nobody underestimates Patrick Mahomes because they think, well, the Chiefs are going to be in the AFC Championship every year. They only have to play 1 game to get there. It's like, whatever. It's the same thing with the Patriots. So now if you have this huge, humongous Goliath that everyone's afraid of, no one even thinks for a second that you have a chance of beating, and then you not only beat him once, but you beat him twice. And unlike Tom Brady, it's your fault that the game goes in your favor. It's Eli Manning's fault. He put the team on his back. He had to make
We not getting nothing about the helmet, you feel me? He got the
He
ball.
had to make after the helmet. The helmet didn't score a touchdown. You had to score a touchdown. He threw the ball to Plaxico Burress.
Wandale Robinson.
Plaxico, no. But no.
Yo, stop.
Plaxico Burress.
Here's all I gotta say, right? Here's all I gotta say, because we're running down time here. What Eli Manning has done for the city of New York, beating Tom Brady twice with limited rosters.
He can go into the New York Hall of Fame if he wants.
He's
Not the Pro
going
Football
into the
one.
Hall of
Not
Fame.
the Pro Football
only
one.
person to
Oh, he
beat
wasn't a first
him
ballot,
twice.
though. I wonder why that was. I wonder why he
will
didn't get
still
in.
get into the Hall of Fame. Only
shouldn't.
person to beat
He
him
shouldn't.
twice. He has done more for the city of New York for any player to come through this city, maybe excluding Lawrence Taylor.
The standards were low. The standards were low. Oh, God, we're throwing microphones.
One thing I'm gonna say is like, right, Eli Manning. Anytime he saw Tom Brady leaking his chops, it was easy money every single time. And in 2011, right, we lost to the 49ers the regular season. That was the game that I was more scared of in the playoffs than facing Tom Brady. When it got to Tom Brady, we been here before 2007, so I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna violate again. That's exactly what happened. So talk to me.
You want me to talk to you?
No, you're nervous. Talk to me.
Never been less nervous in my life.
Okay.
He brought up LeBron versus Steph Curry earlier
Okay.
about the GOAT beating, or just somebody beating a GOAT to become the GOAT or to earn Hall of Fame status, whatever it was. Can we acknowledge the fact that offense and defense in the NFL are two different things? Tom Brady was not out there defending Eli Manning. Tom Brady was out there going up against some of the toughest Giants defenses that have ever existed.
we talk
Eli
about-
Manning did not directly beat Tom
Hold on,
Brady.
hold on, hold on.
Brady did not have a chance to
listen,
be like,
listen,
I
I
want to
know-
play
I
DB.
know-
I'm going to pick this guy off. I'm going to go defend David Tyree. He didn't do that.
All my life, I know a Patriots fan is not talking to me about picks and defense.
You are damn right I am.
How you
You're
talking
damn
to me when
right
you
I
got
am.
Malcolm Butler? You always have a top 10 defense. How you want it? So
How does this make Eli Manning a Hall of Famer?
No, but I'm
How does this make Eli Manning a Hall of Famer?
twice.
You brought
He
up.
didn't beat Brady. He beat Brady's defenses. He beat the other side of things.
He beat Tom Brady. He beat the Patriots team that was undefeated.
So is Nick Foles a Hall of Famer? How do we feel about that one?
Eli Manning.
How do we feel about that one?
We talk twice.
So twice is the line. Twice is the line. Twice is the
On-
line.
on the road.
Twice is the line between
15.
Hall of Famer and literally so far off the radar you can't even
Twice is
see him.
domination.
Listen,
Or are we
listen,
saying
hold on,
these
hold on,
individual
hold on,
instances
hold on,
don't
hold on,
actually matter that much?
Hold on.
Only one.
LeBron James says that he felt like when he became the greatest player of all time was when he beat the 73-now Warriors, right? Going and beating an undefeated Patriots team. That's enough.
LeBron James' delusion about when he became the greatest does not matter to me.
But Eli Manning has done things that nobody else could do.
His defense did things nobody else could do.
Okay, so against so did Tom Brady's defense multiple times. This way, a top 10 defense.
This is about Eli Manning's Hall of Fame case, which he does not have.
He does have a Hall of Fame case.
No.
He does have a Hall
No.
of Fame case.
Nuh-uh.
So
you
underneath this,
didn't want to be part of the group. You
Underneath
wanted
this
to-
Mahomes jersey is a Steelers sweatshirt.
Oh,
I
where
get it out,
are we
right?
going with
So I'm a
this?
Steelers fan.
Where are we going with this?
And I've had
How many teams do you like?
I've had many. I respect greatness.
Okay. It should
And
be a Brady jersey then, but
I've had many debates back home with my friends who are Giants fans. I'm from Connecticut, so a lot of Giants fans who about saying that Big Ben is better than Eli Manning. But I can still respect Eli Manning, and maybe the Giants fans can help me out on this. Eli Manning is top 10 in passing yards, is he not?
Correct.
Top 10 in passing touchdowns.
Correct.
And if it weren't for his idiot head coach who sat him that game, he has one of the longest streaks of starting consecutive games. He's an Iron Man type of guy. Correct. So you come by, and yes, at the end of his career, he threw a lot of interceptions behind a terrible O-line, and that's why in arguments with my friends, I always said that Big Ben is a better quarterback than Eli Manning, but you still have to put things into perspective. So when you put that all together, and then you have two of the best Super Bowl runs of all time from a quarterback, what else can you really want from a Hall of Fame? You're talking top 10 in two of the major categories for a quarterback in two incredible Super Bowl runs.
the New York Giants having such low standards that they were okay starting Eli Manning for that long, that he could accumulate these stats, is none of my concern, personally. And then at the end of it, he burned himself by throwing 1 million interceptions and killing his case. Eli was the starter for the Giants for a long time. That's about all I can say about him. You throw anybody out there for that long, they're going to make their way up the passing yards list because they're throwing the ball forever.
One of your biggest arguments is how Brady has the longevity and played for so long.
Good
and-
longevity. Led the league in passing yards at 44. What was Eli doing?
It was
Eli's
a
probably
volume.
44 right now.
It was a
And he's doing
volume
the
passing
Manning
offense,
cast.
just like his last year in the league. It was all about volume. It was very
And
inefficient.
Eli's volume often led to turnovers, even though it was lower
They
volume.
had a much better team in Tampa.
So Eli
the
threw the
O-line
ball
was bad.
less and got picked off more.
So basically what you're saying is you don't believe that top 10 in passing yards, top 10 in touchdowns, an Iron Man streak basically of playing games, and then winning 2 Super Bowls, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, and going on insane runs just How do you get in the Hall of Fame in your eyes? Who's making the Hall of Fame these days?
Be a top 5 quarterback at any point during the duration of your career.
He was a top 5 quarterback.
No, he wasn't.
In
Not
yes,
at any point.
Yes, he
Tom
was.
Brady,
There were
Big
seasons
Ben,
where
Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers better than him every single season.
and there were consistently
At least
years
5
where
guys.
he would
That
go
was off top.
head to head and toe to toe with guys like Drew Brees in the NFC and Big Ben. They had their duels.
We want to go toe to toe again. Offense, defense. He was never the better
Oh my
quarterback.
gosh.
He was never the better quarterback. If you want to have a throwing competition 1-on-1 between the two guys, he's going to lose every time.
I get it. Defense only matters when it's other quarterbacks, but not Tom
You're
Brady.
damn right.
Okay.
The last thing I'll say is the only active player with a chance to catch Tom Brady's greatness is Drake May. You're just mad. You're just mad. We already got the guy again. You're just mad. Whatever.